folks, and welcome to another episode of You Dig? This is a very special episode. It's a two-parter. We talked about so much stuff that I'm going to divide this into two shows. And it's all about the film composer extraordinaire. Her name is Julia Zuzanna Sokolowska. I was very careful to get the pronunciation as close as I can for a U.S. English speaker. It's the beautiful Polish dialect. Sokolowska is her last name. And she's a fantastic composer with a fascinating background that includes jazz and classical and rock and all kinds of things. Synthesizers as well as full orchestra, conducting, the whole thing, the whole package. So we talked for quite a while. And she even took the Dig You Inquisition. So we did everything, and what a cool and fun hang. So let's dive right in, folks. Here is Julia Zuzanna Sokolowska. Hey, folks, look, it's Julia Zuzanna Sokolowska. It's right here. She's with us. And,
Hi, everybody.
Hey, look at that. Well, I'm sorry about this audience. They're just so loud. I can't hear anything. I can't even
They're making
hear.
me shy.
Yeah, I know. It's they're a little over the top, but they all enjoy cruising coffee. That's what they like to drink. So
Yes.
see there. We're hoping for a new sponsor here, folks.
There we go. We got a proof of concept right here. That's all I do.
Product placement. That's the genius right there. So, Julia, how's it going? You're busy? I can only imagine how busy. Career and family, my goodness.
Yes. So juggling family and work is definitely a difficult difficult thing for a composer.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
one main thing that I had a misconception about before I became a mom was that, I thought I'm going to have this easy child that I could just work on my music and write stuff. And the child is just going to be playing there and, taking care of themselves and, possibly listening to my stuff. Well, that
not quite
that way.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Yep. As we know, as we parents know, there's no sleep. There's nothing that we planned. Everything
Pretty much.
And your career, even without a family, most folks can't handle it. So you add the family, and you're heroic.
It is kind of, especially in a crunch time moments, it is kind of like a 24/7.
Yeah,
job.
I can only imagine.
But you get some breaks, so that's good.
Yes, that's very good. Well, I was thinking about the first time that I met you, and it was only briefly for a short amount of time you were at North Texas when I was there. I remember you were working in the little supply area to make extra money to get through school, I guess. And you had, for the first time, I'd never seen this. This was right before everybody had smartphones. So this wasn't a thing that was happening. You had your laptop and you had a video call, I think, to another country someplace. And I thought, wow, look at that technology. That's so cool. That's the first time I'd ever seen that. So that's what I remember from back then.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Was it working at the copy place?
Yes.
Yeah?
Right. And I'd come by and say, could I get some pencils and stuff?
Yeah. No, I remember that job. That was I think that was my first job in US.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Well.
And the fun part was you actually got to copy a lot of music.
Right. Well, that's a good point. You saw a lot of things
I got to look
by.
through all the scores that were coming in, some big band charts,
Smart.
Yeah.
That's well, who knew that you were this rising star of film composing that was going to happen? So, yes.
Can we get some of those audience sounds?
Yes. Let's hear it, folks. Let's hear it for Julia. Oh, see, there they are. They're ready to applaud all the time. Oh, man. And then, so then after North Texas, you go to Berklee. So what was that like? That must have been a blast.
Yeah, I actually transferred. And
Ah,
UNT was very unhappy. Like the people that I wanted to, because I had to like just leave as a student at UNT in order to go to Berklee.
yeah.
And I remember the lady was really trying to talk me out of this, but I was like I already got accepted there. So I actually I have never finished UNT. I stopped my degree after 2 years because I
Uh-huh.
got to Berklee. And
Right.
I think for me personally, this was a good move
Oh,
because I feel like
absolutely.
I've learned everything I needed about jazz at
Mm,
UNT.
yeah.
And that
It's,
knowledge came very handy at Berklee.
I'll
So
bet
at
it did.
Berklee, I
Yeah.
just, finished. Those two schools have two very difficult approaches, very different approaches.
Hmm.
So Berklee is very industry driven.
Mm,
The technology is, off the hook there, very
yeah.
on par with what's happening in the industry.
Right.
But they're also not a very merit-based school.
Mm,
They it's a very loose school.
hmm.
It's kind of whatever you put in, you get out. So they
Oh,
don't
interesting.
police, they don't police these students. They don't really put so much effort on actual knowledge.
Ah,
So I feel like everything I've learned about jazz was from
mm.
UNT. And then I
Ah,
just
sure.
applied that knowledge to, next level classes at Berklee. They let me test out of a lot of subjects, and so I
Oh,
didn't
cool.
lose any time. I just jumped back in, kind of where I
Right.
left UNT off. Yeah, but I joke with my friends, like if I have an artist to call, I would definitely call Berklee students. But if I want
Hmm.
to do a recording session, I would definitely call UNT students.
Yeah, there you
Because
go.
they're just so amazing, like with all the big
Right.
bands and all the hardcore training that,
Yeah.
players go through, especially with sight reading, which
Oh, they
nobody,
can.
like, who knew sight reading is going to be so important in a business.
Right.
But yeah, all of that,
That's.
all of that knowledge, to this day, like I call UNT students just to, when I have a session, when I need to record something quick, when I need
Oh,
that,
they
that
can
quick
read
sound and
anything.
very
Yep.
technical, really well skilled and trained players. I call
Right.
UNT.
And to have that jazz knowledge, I always like to paraphrase a science fiction author that I love, Arthur C. Clarke, and he said something that I paraphrase and make it applicable here is that jazz knowledge, when sufficiently advanced, is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's other composers. Wow, how did she get that sound? Well, in jazz they do this, and
Yeah.
good stuff to
Well,
have.
oh yeah. And jazz too. Even though many people told me marketing wise,
Mhm.
I should avoid the word jazz sound, I still think that what sets me apart from other composers, especially film composers, who
Right.
mainly come from like two backgrounds, it's either classical or rock.
Ah.
It's really
Hmm.
interesting, they're
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
rock players, guitar players, or, piano players who like just switched over to film music, or
Sure.
they're classical folks who
Hmm.
are trying to write, film music.
That's a
There's
that's a
like
good point.
those
Yeah.
two very, very distinct types of composers that are attracted to that industry, right?
Yeah.
Well, my background is very different, and so my sound is very different.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, we are what we grew up with and what we've been around and what has been in our culture that where we've studied. So of course you've got all kinds of interesting background stuff. And it comes out in your music. All that I've heard, I can hear all kinds of variations of things in there that you don't often hear that will serve you well, I think, in getting your name. So the funny title, Rising Star, it doesn't really apply to you because you're already established, but the rising part, I guess, is the nature of the beast with film composers. It takes a minute to get up to the very top and get the top Hans Zimmer-y kind of things coming your way, but you've already done plenty of stuff. It's amazing career so far.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if there's like really a place where you're like, you made it. It's just kind of
Yeah.
road all the way. And I've taken a very different route, not by design. I wasn't a genius who thought of all that, but
Yeah.
because I wasn't I wasn't super sure at the moment of my life where I was going with it. I would just kind of, and it was good for me because I would just kind of take whatever is the closest to my heart at the moment.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
started in the industry as an arranger, and that was actually those skills came straight from UNT because I was arranging for all the big bands, and not all the big bands, but I did jazz arrangements for big
Oh,
bands, and so that knowledge came super handy. Especially when I started arranging for for Christmas albums in LA, and then I got onto the Tonight Show with Jay Leno as
yeah.
an arranger for the band. So
Oh, okay.
that's literally those skills helped me build the initial steps in my career,
Wow.
and then I just was taking wherever the wind blew from there,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever was available, what it was needed, and it's funny because the industry, as I was in LA, was going through so many different changes too.
Mhm.
I felt like I was just going after what was, making me money at that point, right?
Sure. Well, yeah, necessity is the mother of invention, they say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you had to do that. But that's an interesting way to break in. I don't know if that's the usual, is it? I mean, I don't know.
No, but I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking, see, at that point, I wasn't
Mhm.
necessarily thinking I'm going to become a film composer.
Oh, I see.
As a matter
Wow.
of
And it just
fact,
came.
I was actually not in my line of work. It's channeled. I'm not saying that there's
Mm,
no creativity anymore. You can still be very creative. But it
sure.
is, your music is not its own entity. It has to be written to support the characters, the
Right.
picture, the editing, you don't even have a control necessarily over the tempo of your music.
Oh,
That's how
sure.
basic it is,
Wow. Mm.
So because of these reasons, at the very beginning, I was a little hesitant whether I wanted to do
Oh,
that
sure. Yeah,
for a
you would
living.
restrict your artistry and probably felt
Yeah.
that way. Well, let's get into the fabulous process itself because I can speak for my composer pals. Any composer thinks of nowadays of writing for film as that's just the ultimate. That as an outside observer, oh man, to write for film. So what is the process? Let's say where does it start? Does the stereotype is a director calls up, "Hello, Julia, I'd like you to do da ba da." How does it start, and what's the process?
Yeah. So this is very funny because everybody thinks that it's a director calls you up. And when you're established and when you're when you're out there and when you have
Yeah.
this relationship with the director, then
Ah.
yes, they do call you up. But to
Mhm.
get to the moment where you have this working relationship with the director, it's a ladder. So um I would say, so I actually, it's funny because I teach of my own like little private film mentorship course, and what I tell to
Uh-huh.
my students is, you know, that is the relationship that you want to establish. But to get to that relationship, you need to be out there and talk to directors. You need to be out
Ah.
there and meet people that could recommend you for the
Uh-huh.
jobs. I actually, in my work, have gotten more calls from the producers on
Ah.
films
Interesting.
than I have gotten from the directors, which,
Hmm.
I'm not saying that that's not, that's not it. But it's funny. The very first movies that I've ever made, I
Hmm.
approached the director and I started talking to
Oh.
them, and I started, selling my ideas, and just brainstorming.
Yeah.
And I think that this is the way for everybody who wants to get into film scoring, is that, like, just talk to your friends who are directors, talk to whoever, go to film festivals, find directors
Mm.
that you would like to work with, and
Right.
just start a conversation with them.
Wow.
And that hopefully will develop into this wonderful relationship later on where you guys just call each other and run
Right.
ideas.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've got this next blockbuster and I thought of you. Let's get to work. That's the,
Pretty much, yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But it sounds to me a lot like any other kind of relationship building in the arts where it's all who you know, who you meet, what kind
Yeah.
of person you are in public with these folks. And, well, it shows you've been doing all the right things. So I hope your students listen to you. Is, is that the Illuminating Music? Is that,
So
group?
Illuminating Music was a group that I've started, I don't know, like 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's an older group. It doesn't exist anymore.
Hmm.
Sadly.
Yeah,
I
too
thought
bad.
about bringing it back a few times, but I just was a little too busy. The reason why I stopped the group is because I just couldn't handle the amount of projects that I had at that time.
Sure.
Illuminating Music was a group that I started when Me Too happened in Los Angeles, and
Right.
I just wanted to find a way to help upcoming talent
Mm-hmm.
sort of show their work. At
Ah.
that time, I had a lot of projects coming my way, and many of them I felt like weren't necessarily right just for me.
Oh, I see.
So I created this group of female writers,
Mm-hmm.
and we were doing all of these little projects. So we would do like something like 9 or 10 movies a year
Wow.
together. But
Oh,
because there
man.
were 6 girls and we were all writing cues for these films,
Hmm.
it was easier to work that way. So we could handle that amount of work, right?
Oh, I
And this
see.
is kind of
Yeah.
how most composers work. We're very, very
Mm.
busy. They have not just one assistant, they have like a group of 5 assistants,
Wow.
and then, especially on TV shows where you have
Hmm.
to go because, it's a weekly thing and, you have to release quickly and a lot of
Wow.
um hours of music.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a way for me to kind of help girls launch their
Mm-hmm.
careers, and in a proper way too, with
Right.
getting to work on actual projects with actual directors and getting actual credits.
Oh, how cool.
So yeah, and it really worked because
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of these girls that have been in a group, like just having these phenomenal careers right now, like they're
Oh, that's
coming down to
great.
LA and they're, getting awards from like, Hollywood. Or it's like there's this
Wow.
one woman, not a girl, but woman from Australia. Her name
Mm-hmm.
is Jackie, and she always comes to LA to pick up some awards she just won, and
Ah,
for her work in
wow.
Australia, where she's becoming a huge star.
Oh, that's
And
great.
yeah, and she always calls me up for a coffee, and she
How
tells me about like
wonderful.
all the new developments that she's been through. So I'm just like, it really
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah, it
But it just
did.
goes to show
Yeah.
that when you work and you just show your work and you
Mm.
kind of want to be doing it and you do it in a right way,
Right.
you really can get into the industry because the industry is
Mm.
wide and big and open. I mean, it's a pyramid, right? On top,
Yeah.
it gets much
Yeah.
smaller and there's
Right.
only a certain amount of people allowed on top, right? The glass ceiling. But the
Yeah.
industry as a
Yeah.
whole, in different pockets, especially now, it's going to be fragmenting. So it's the
Mhm.
best time
Mhm.
for people who really want to do this to get into it and start working on, on this film here and this film there. And
Wow.
incentives are everywhere right now in America. So the production goes into different
Mhm.
places. Once the production goes into different places, LA is struggling keeping the post-production in. That's what they're
Ah.
really fighting for. They just passed some incentives. So
Mhm.
they really are trying to keep the film industry back in there.
Mm.
But it's hard because it's spreading out,
Yeah.
you know?
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
with
if
technology and streaming and who knows what else, it's really fragmenting, I think you're
yeah.
right. Well, how exciting for folks that are listening that are students and almost always if they're composers, I'll say, would you like to do for a career? Well, I want to write for film. All right then. They'll hear this and they'll feel pretty good about that there's room There's places out there, whether you are male or female. It's you have the talent. Here's what you do, and that's great. Well, what a cool thing. Oh, here I've got another process question to ask, just like a fanboy logistical process. So you're in the midst, you've got the project, you're writing for the film. Do you typically have to prepare your music for the orchestra to play, or is there a service? Does the Fowler family come in and say, "Oh, we'll take care of that for you"? Or how does that work? So do you have to do it yourself, print the music and bring it in, or do they take care of it?
So it's a loaded question.
Yeah.
It's a loaded
Well,
question, and there's so many ways to work.
yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
The standard in the industry right now is that we as film composers
Mhm.
do demos.
That
So
was my next question is do
the
you
way,
sit there with the piano or you finish the demo first?
yeah, and the demo, not just a demo for the project. It's not like when you're demoing for the projects and you're giving them some examples of, okay, this is what I'm kind of thinking for this film. What do you
Right.
think? Actually, the writing process starts after a spotting session, right? So you sit down with the
Mm.
director, you go over where the music should be placed, what cues you would like
Ah.
to put in this, in this spot. The time codes are being locked in, and you talk about the beat of the scene and the
Mhm.
tempo of the scene, and what, whether it's a character driven scene or whether it's a, I don't know, car chase, or
Right, right.
whatever it is, you find the important parts of the scene.
Mhm.
And then what composers do usually is they go back to the writing room, which is your DAW, digital
Yes.
audio workstation,
Mhm.
and then you write the score kind of with the synth samples that you have, right? So
Right.
I'm saying this wrong. So, just virtual instruments, right?
Mhm.
So if you want to do an orchestra, then you have to write out all of the orchestral parts in your DAW, in
Oh,
your
I
digital audio
see.
workstation.
Mhm.
Then, synth parts or whatever the score is calling for. I like to work early on in the process. I like to actually
Mhm.
get at least the soloists in, so that I
Ah.
have some live musicians, even with in the kind of rough sketches of
Oh,
music
that's cool.
that I'm
Yeah.
doing for the director. I feel like it always just sounds better, and therefore
Yeah.
it sells better, right? It gets the idea
Mm.
across a little bit better.
Right,
And so
right.
then, I mean, it is a little bit more pricey, but I'm willing to pay that price just to have the director get a little bit fuller picture, right?
Money
Now,
well spent. Well
yeah, I would
spent.
never hire
Yeah.
a full orchestra to
Right.
to do a sketch of a kid,
Yeah.
right? But um but yeah, I feel like working with soloists, and I feel like a lot of composers, even like Ludwig Göransson. I don't
Mm.
know if I'm saying his name properly, but
Mm.
his wife is a violinist, and so they
Ah.
usually start working on cues together, and she lays down some basic violin tracks for him to
Oh,
just,
that's pretty convenient. Yeah.
I know, right?
That's
What a perfect
great.
arrangement.
Yeah, that's not bad. Wow.
So then,
Okay, go.
once the director is happy with how the cue sounds like
Mhm.
and fits with the scene and everything, um, there might be some edits which you can do yourself, or the editor who is kind of savvy in music can do that, or we have
Mhm.
a job called music editor. And that person
Ah.
is particularly brought in to just edit the music so that as the cue changes, if it changes, or if a scene, I'm sorry, if scene changes,
Right,
they
right.
adjust the music accordingly, right?
Wow.
And then after everything is locked in place, that's
Mhm.
when you take that and then you kind of orchestrate backwards, right? So you take the music that's
Ah.
already written, you put it in the orchestra. I like to work with orchestrators if there's a budget, because it's just a daunting work. I did that
Mm.
for other composers
Oh,
at the beginning
gee.
of my career. I was an
Wow.
orchestrator for many years in LA, and it is what's difficult about that job right now is that you you do have all the MIDI that the composer sends you, right?
Mhm.
But instead of making the orchestra sound like an orchestra, you have to make the orchestra sound like the demo.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
So,
Yeah,
so
that's tricky.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like, it's kind of a little
Oof.
bit backwards.
Right,
Um,
right.
and the reason for that is because not all of the directors, obviously, but a lot of the
Mhm.
directors get married to the sound that's already there. And if there's
course.
anything different coming from the actual recorded version, even though it's could be better, right?
Right,
Us
right.
as musicians, we see it and it's like, this is so much better than this, right? A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
directors are like, that sticks out too much, like it doesn't work for
Mm,
me anymore, right? So what you
wow.
want to do is unfortunately, try to stay as close to the demo as possible. Even more reasons for getting your demos really, really well.
I would
And
think, sure.
the composers who are very popular in the business right now, like Brian Tyler or Christoph Beck, these composers are known for having their cues, like the demos that they're of the cue that they're presenting to the
Yeah.
director, sounding already like almost like the orchestra,
Wow. That's
and
an
yeah,
entire other art form right there is creating
it's
the
literally
demo.
that has been
Yeah.
the business, but it's nothing new. That has been the business for the past 10 or 15 years,
Right, right.
so
Wow.
if not
The
more.
days are gone when we think of the caricature of John Williams coming in and playing on a piano and that's it. It's long
Yeah,
gone those days.
yeah. Who can do this is John Williams, Howard Shore.
Hmm.
I think these two guys. Yeah,
Right, right. Well,
yeah.
when you've
Everybody.
got
Yeah,
60 years in the business, or whatever it might be, that's,
yeah.
yeah,
But
comes from a
also,
different.
it also depends on the director.
Mm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
as the business changed, it's not just director, also like the studio people, or
Mm,
always
mm-hmm.
have to have their 2 cents on the on what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Um, but people just got, because the workflow changed, people got a little spoiled,
Oh,
you
sure.
know.
Yep. Yeah.
And then also, I feel like there isn't a lot of directors who can listen to a piano
Mm,
and listen to
right.
the melody and
Yeah.
listen to how it sounds like,
And
and really
imagine.
imagine in
Yeah.
their heads how the
Yep.
finished work is going to be, you know?
Right. Right.
Um,
That's a good point.
yeah,
Yeah.
even
That's
if
huge.
you did deliver a demo,
Mm-hmm.
but the demo is not really well made, and I've seen a lot of young, upcoming composers crush and burn that way. They would
Yeah.
write this beautiful piece, but then
Yeah.
they would put it in a demo form, and it just does not work. Like, it's just
Right.
not good, right? It's,
Oh.
the guitar sounds off and the piano is like wanky and, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
your demo is not good. People are going to listen to it and they're going to be like, oh, I don't know. I'm not really sure if I'm
That's
digging
all
it."
they know is the demo. They don't have anything that's in the composer's mind. It's
Yeah.
completely being auditioned from the sounds of the demo. Wow.
Yeah.
That's daunting. So coming into the business, you better have unbelievable sound libraries, a great DAW setup, and really have that artwork together.
Or figure out a way to make your music sound good without having any of this stuff. Because when you're saying having all the sound libraries, you're talking
Mhm.
about, $20,000 investment
Right. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
just, the tools that you need, right?
Yeah.
So you better figure out how to make your music sound good in other ways. And there's so many, there's so many ways to skin the cat, You
Yep.
can have your friends record for you, for favors or
Ah.
coffees or whatever. Like, just,
Yeah.
just figure it out. But like, make sure that whatever you're presenting, like, your music sounds good, right?
Absolutely. See, that kind of resourceful thinking, I think, comes from your jazz background right there. How to make do with not a lot of resources and make it incredible.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Well, you know what? With the limited amount of time we've got, I've been told that the perfect podcast amount of time is 60 minutes. So to squeeze some things in here, we should look at and listen to some of the stuff you've done. And I'll edit this part here, but let's go to the links that you sent. Which one would you like to start with first?
How about we start with my absolute favorite piece, it's an older piece of mine, but my
Mm.
absolute favorite piece is Destino. And
Oh,
I have
okay.
written it.
Let me get to your site here and
Okay.
go to
While you're
Destino.
setting up, I'm just gonna tell the story. So I've
Okay,
written
go.
it um, as a request of an agent that I worked at the time, and it was a demo for Disney.
Hmm.
And it's funny because I actually have written that theme on a piano way back
Uh-huh.
as a demo for a sample library. And then that piece, my friend, I actually put it in one of my albums as a piano piece. And then my friend listened to it and he's like, you know what, this would sound so good for the orchestra. So the theme for that film.
Stopping it. Sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. The theme for the film.
For that piece started as a piano solo.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of, I just orchestrated it for full, for orchestra. And then
Wow.
I believe it cost me about $10,000 to record that with LA players back in.
You
back in
financed
LA.
that yourself. You did that yourself.
We well, I had a little bit of help. Yeah.
Oof.
But it definitely worked because from that I have got an honor to work with Alan Menken on a live show with his with the music, actually with a live to picture Beauty and the Beast concert. So it definitely opened some doors for me. And just the fact that, I mean, honestly, just the fact that I could hear this piece being performed live with the live orchestra on stage was, to me, like breathtaking. Like I still remember this moment to this day. I was like, whoa, that really works, and being in the studio and in LA, most of the players they record for you are like LA Philharmonic players.
Whoa.
So you get to I don't know, you get to like listen to these people just shred on stage, it's, I don't know. It was just a mind-blowing experience to record this piece. So that's why I wanted to play it for you guys.
Well, yeah, and it's tell us about the Destino concept itself. Isn't that an interesting thing?
Oh, yeah. So this is a very old piece written. So the story has been written by Walt Disney himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then Salvador Dali did all the imagery for it.
Oh, my gosh.
Very, very beautiful.
Right.
Now, this has never been finished, and it has never really been published. Then Disney at some point published it, and they added, I don't know the backstory of the music, but the music has been written by this Spanish songwriter, and then adapted by some composer to fit the Destino that that he ended up. But it is almost, it's the song is so dated that a lot of people started questioning whether it was really the right move to put that song and that music in the original. And you guys can go back and it's somewhere out online. Like you guys can go back and like see how does it sound like in original, and make your own ideas and I'm missing a word here, but make your own mind of whether it works or not. So
this is your music that we're about to hear. This was your original.
No, this is my music. But the original is somewhere floating out there online. So everybody can go in and see how it sounded like before I changed it.
Oh, how cool. All right. Should we let it play for a little bit and you can comment as we go.
One thing that I do want to say, this is actually this theme itself is actually based. It was a very jazzy theme that I was messing with. So I kind of it started as blues almost, And then I was like, well, why don't we put blues in different keys and, kind of modulate here and whatever. So it is a very bluesy theme and very jazz driven. So, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Well, we'll go for a little bit here and just let us know what we need to hear. That is so cool that Dali did this. Woo! Wow. Woo! That's nice. I like that. Wow. Man, that's great stuff. I didn't want to stop it, but I know we don't have a lot of time. But tell us what you were thinking up to that point. You've got this incredible imagery, and how did that imagery lead you to some of these sounds we're hearing? Because every place I was going, whoa, ah, listen to that, woo! I meant it. I mean, that's some really amazing sounds.
What was I thinking? I mean, there's so many things going on in there.
I know it's and it wasn't like the old cartooning thing where you try to have the music like zap 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 with a movement. I mean, it was this beautiful concept over the top of it. Just lovely stuff.
So I think that the predominant thought here was to make the music just as artsy as what we're seeing. Because what we're seeing here is very dreamy, but it's not dreamy in a way where it would be a calm, peaceful song, right? So it needed to be a little weird, a little out of this world. And then on top of everything, this is a love story. You guys, if we played a little further down, then the theme changes and it goes into a full-on love theme, just big classical, full orchestral strings are playing, and it turns into like a big romantic theme. But essentially what's happening is this is like the search part of this film. And it's, there's the woman, there's the men, and they take on all different shapes and they morph and then transition, and they have all the little backstories there. And they're looking for each other. And so I wanted to have the music kind of tell the story of the, how the characters are developing, there's this innocence from, the girl coming from the girl. And then there's this, I feel like the man in this relationship is this kind of stuck in a mold, frozen in time, just kind of doing his own thing. But all of a sudden, this woman appears and she breaks him out of his shell. So I definitely wanted. It's interesting because I actually hired a percussionist or orchestral percussionist to help me out with coming up with different interesting drum sounds to
Oh,
alter certain
interesting.
parts of this story. So you could hear different like little like hand percussions, and
Yep.
there's like a, I believe he used a tabla for one part, and
Oh,
and
cool.
oh yeah, so he's doing a lot of very, very interesting things to kind of help accent different spots in the story, like when she
Yeah.
climbs, when she falls, there's this harp thing going on, and then she plops into that eye looking thing, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, that's another kind of through line here is that resourcefulness and being brave enough to ask somebody else for some help there and get that resource of the percussionist. That's I think a lot of musicians and composers will just think that they know it all, and so I'll just write this as opposed to asking one of the experts. Well, yeah, what? Give me some percussion ideas here. I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
that's brilliant. That's very resourceful.
Oh, I love it, but that comes from jazz.
Well, there it is.
Because
Yeah.
as a jazz composer, you
Right.
rely so heavily on other people's talent, you
Right.
know? And I've
Right.
done a score for a film where
Hmm.
I've done a whole score for a comedy.
Ah.
And the way that happened shortly after Antonio Sanchez did a score for Birdman. I don't know if you guys remember
Oh,
the
sure,
score,
I do.
right?
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah.
And
The
I
drums
so,
and all through.
so we were
Yeah.
talking about that score with the director, and the
Ah.
director was like, "Yeah, it would be cool to do something like that." It was supposed to be a High School Musical, but nobody was singing that musical. So he was like, "You
Mm.
need to figure out how we make this High School Musical about singing without any singing." I was like, "Okay, why don't we cut out all the instruments?"
Yeah.
Which we didn't really do, but I was like, "Why don't we make the score kind of like the score for Birdman, just
Yeah.
percussion based, you know?" And I had this friend at that time. Her name was Sarah Reich. Reich. I'm sorry, Sarah. I never I don't know how to pronounce the last names, but it's so funny because nobody ever knows how to pronounce my last names.
I've been practicing it, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you what, I'm becoming an expert on. I got to look at it. I got my phonetic spelling here. Hold on. Stand by.
Oh no, no,
Uh,
no.
uh,
It's okay.
Sokolowska.
Yeah, perfect.
Ah, there
Yeah.
we go.
So 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 yeah, I know I know the pain. But Sarah is just a phenomenal tap dancer, jazz tap dancer. So now,
Ah,
but
interesting.
she's not just like a jazz tap dancer, she's a jazz improviser, right?
Ah,
So
mm-hmm.
what I've done is I worked with her as I would work with a jazz piano player or a jazz trumpet player. I gave her the rhythms and I gave her the form, and I
Mm-hmm.
told her, this is going to be this much time and this is going to be so many minutes. And I just let her do the theme, the rhythmical theme a couple of times
Right.
to establish it, right? And then I was like, now you just go and you just improvise. And she gave me these beautiful takes of like a minute or 2 minutes of her just like tap dancing around that
Oh,
rhythm that I
man.
wrote.
Yeah. This is a post-production moment. Yep. This is after the fact. Uh, Costume change, spare no expense here at You Dig. So it's just me and the crack editing team. Wait, that's just me. But I wanted to pop in the behind the scenes footage that Julie is talking about for the film Divosi, with Sarah Reich doing some amazing tap dancing and how that was used in the film itself for the score. Pretty cool stuff. So let's pop in that behind the scenes footage right here.
It's natural to be upset. Who's upset? I'm not upset. I'm not complaining or anything.
Collaborating with her on that score was just mind-blowing to me, and it turned out to
Wow.
be a really fun score for that particular film.
Wow. Now, have you sent me that link? Maybe we should check that out.
I've sent you behind the scenes where
Right.
poorly recorded that with my iPhone at the time in a studio where she was tap dancing. We literally just took her and we treated her like a musician. So we put her in a booth, we put mics on her, and then she was just tap dancing and improvising.
Wow, that is so cool. Well, yeah, you're right about the Birdman thing. That's the first thing that jumped out when my wife and I checked that film out. It's a drummer. It's a drum solo. How cool is this? And it totally works. Totally works. That's brilliant. Well, I'm thinking we could check out a couple of more things and maybe even make this part 1 and part 2 because I had some other things in mind. But
I'm sorry. Am I talking
that's all right.
too much?
No. You can never talk enough. This is what we want to learn. We want to learn from Julia. What is this process? What are you doing? That's it almost seems like secret ingredients in film composing. There's no documentaries out there where they're really talking about here's what I did and how I did it. So anything that we can get into like that is gold. That's just fantastic. All right now, and that ends part 1 of the 2-parter featuring Julia and her music. There's so much to talk about that it was going to be a feature-length film, so to divide it up was the way to go. So if you've enjoyed this as much as I have, and if you have, you've really enjoyed this, and you'd like to help this program thrive, survive, grow, become a monster, well, all you got to do is subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like the videos. Therefore, like and subscribe. And that gives that algorithm all the love that it requires to grow this program and make our reach even farther out into the universe of goodness. I'm running out of adjectives, folks. Please like and subscribe. And it is mucho appreciated. An angel will get its wings, and you'll just feel better about yourself. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with part 2 with Julia Zuzanna Sokolowska. And until then, we'll see you on the next episode of You Dig?
WCBC Waste World. In a world full of podcasts, Waste World Productions brings you You Dig.
Whoa, man.
What?
What the heck was that?
Well, I thought that I would compose my own film score because Julia is here today.
Well, that's the very reason that you should not do this kind of lame stuff, man.
Wow.
Julia's a professional. What are you?
Well, I'm a professional voiceover artist.
Yeah, that's debatable.
Really?
In my world,
Wow.
All right, then, let's just end this because this is ridiculous.